Welcome back. Let's take you here now. The Basic Education Department is intervening in the KwaZulu-Natal school nutrition program saga following reports of inadequate food supply in some schools in the province. Learners at over 5,000 schools in the province have gone without food since they reopened last week. It's believed that the problems emerged with the appointment of a new supplier. The challenges include the late non-delivery and, in some instances, rotten food supplies. Now, let's discuss this further. We're now joined via Zoom by Basic Education Department spokesperson Elijah Mhlanga. Elijah, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, this is a very shocking story. I mean, we're talking nearly 2.5 million children being affected in KwaZulu-Natal. We understand an investigation is now underway. Talk to us about why the Department of Education only sourced the supply of one supplier in this case. Who is the supplier? What is happening with those investigations?
Good afternoon, Unati. Well, that is one of the questions that the Minister has asked the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal. So we are also trying to establish exactly the reasons for the appointment of a single service provider in that province, which is basically a move from an arrangement that was in place where different suppliers were contracted to deliver food as part of the implementation of the National School Nutrition Program.
This is a massive task. We understand that this company is called Pasina Retail. So talk to us about how the whole system in terms of supplying schools with nutrition, with food in this case, was run in the past. And I know that you said that you are investigating too why one supplier was, appointed at this point. But do you have any preliminary investigations that have been completed at the very least? Because we know that this happened when the schools reopened.
Yeah, that's correct. We have a preliminary report. The Minister was given the report late last week, which formed the basis of her taking a decision that an investigation was necessary. And what we know now is that the department appointed the company you mentioned, Pasina, to be the main service provider and to subcontract everybody else to supply food to the schools that are in the province. As you will recall that in the country, the school nutrition program feeds 9.6 million children every day. And of course, you did mention the number, but 2.5 million of those children are in KwaZulu-Natal. So it's concerning from our point of view that there would be a day which passes without those learners not getting their meals. And in some instances, we do get reports that schools are using their SGB funding allocation to supplement the food items that have been delivered as part of the rollout now, which proves to be creating some challenges. But we also are getting reports that some schools have still not received any deliveries. But the good thing is that the KwaZulu-Natal Education Department is making attempts and efforts to really address the situation. And DBE is also moving in. A team is already in the province to provide that support to try and understand what it is that needs to be done for food to reach the children, because most, if not a large number of those children, in fact, rely on these meals. So for a day to pass by without them having eaten from the NSNP, it becomes a big issue for us. That's why the Minister has considered this matter urgently, and that she needs the team to come up with a report which will indicate how we move forward from here.
What is happening at the moment? I know that you are saying that there are some interventions that are currently being done. We are talking about no-fee schools here, quintiles 1 to 3, and in some instances 4 and 5. Is the supplier still the one that is currently employed? Are they the ones that are currently helping the department try and remedy the situation? Because, I mean, in some instances, we understand that some of the food that was delivered to these schools was rotten food. Or are you using an interim supplier at the moment while you try and see where you can, solve the situation as speedily as possible?
Well, Unati, as things stand right now, the company still has the contract. They are still working. What we are doing as DBE is to get more information. The minister has sent a letter which is requesting a whole range of things, information documents, the specifications, the contract, and other documents which will be relevant to the department in its investigation. We are working with that same company to get the food to the schools, because that's the priority right now. It's Monday tomorrow, and we need to make sure that learners come to school expecting that they will get a meal. We would be troubled if there are some schools that even tomorrow still don't have the meals, because this is a matter of serious concern, but it's also a sensitive one, because the intervention was put in place to provide relief to impoverished families. We know also the economy is not doing that well. A lot of people are unemployed. So this is an important and critical intervention that is assisting communities to get by and allow learners as well to benefit from the nutritious, healthy meals that they should be provided for them to be able to focus on the core business, which is teaching and learning. So we want schools to really be stabilized as quickly as possible. That's why the team that the minister has dispatched to the province is already there. And we're already seeing some preliminary reports coming from different parts of the province. And we're doing this in collaboration with the province itself, because they are the implementing agent of this particular initiative. Yes, it is a national initiative, but it has to be implemented by the province. So they remain responsible for what is happening there. All that we are doing now is to work with them, one, to investigate, understand what took place, and two, come up with a way forward so that we address this matter and focus on what we really should be doing, which is teaching and learning.
It is very concerning, like you say, because we understand that some children last week went home hungry. Some of them had to be turned back. In fact, classes had to be stopped because of this, problem that is currently happening. Should the conclusion of the investigation reveal that there is wrongdoing in as far as this particular contractor is concerned, I mean, one contractor trying to feed 2.5 million children, should there be a wrongdoing, what will be the next steps from the department?
Well, Unat, you're asking a very important question about accountability. The meetings that I've attended regarding this matter indicates that action will have to be taken. We cannot leave things as they are if there's wrongdoing. And the wrongdoing is what we're trying to establish, if indeed it is there. And if it is there, who should be held to account. And those relevant individuals will have to be held to account. If you read the minister's letter, it refers to certain pieces of legislation that gives her the responsibility to ensure that this program is implemented with precision and it is delivered in a way that the beneficiaries benefit in full from the program, which was created by government more than 20 years ago. It has become normal in schools. So that's why it comes as a shock to schools when meals don't reach children. It becomes an immediate crisis when learners cannot eat when they expect to be eating. That's why I'm saying the matters around accountability become priority at the end of the investigation. I do not believe that things would be left as they are if there's clear wrongdoing and if some people should really be held to account.
The National School Nutrition Program, we know that the grant allocation for this current financial year is 2.1 billion rand across the country. How much is this supplier, Pacina Retail, getting?
Well, it's more than 2.5 billion around the country. It's much more than that. I think the amount you're talking about is probably for KwaZulu-Natal, because it's the biggest province in the country. It's got the highest learner population at 2.5 million children with about 5,500 schools. That's why that money is at that level. So it's a huge program that feeds many learners, as indicated, 9.6 million. So 2 billion would not be sufficient if you were to look at the learners that we have in the system, at 13.4 million learners that we have in the system, and the huge majority of them depend on the National School Nutrition Program, because it's primarily for quintile 1 to 3, 4 and 5 in some cases, but mainly is for schools that are in areas that do not have as much economic activity, thus leading to unemployment in those particular geographical areas. And that's most of the country, basically. That's why when it happens in just one province, especially as big as KZN, we quickly have to do something about it, because we don't want our learners to be compromised any further. That's why I'm saying the team is already there, even though it's a Sunday today. They are actually on the field checking if indeed the systems are in place for learners to receive their meals tomorrow and all the other days thereafter.
So we're essentially saying that this contract in KwaZulu-Natal alone provided to one single supplier to the tune of 2.1 billion to supply the biggest province in the country.
Yeah, that's about, I'm not sure about the exact allocation, but that should be for one province, because it's much bigger than that for the whole country.
All right, Elijah, let's leave it there for now. Of course, we will touch base with you and find out how those investigations are going. Elijah Mhlanga there for us, the spokesperson of the Department of Basic Education. Thank you so much for your time.